On Overdrive today, we get behind the wheel of the top-of-the-line Lotus Eletre. Find out why we've come away impressed with the Aether Apex scooter, and we drive Ferrari's first hybrid sports car in an unfamiliar territory, city traffic. Hello and welcome to our very first edition of Overdrive for 2024. I am Soini Dutt. Let me start by wishing you all a very happy new year. Now, from insane acceleration to plush interiors, you will end up questioning everything you thought you knew about the brand Lotus. So is it the Eletre? Is it a nod to tradition, or is it a complete departure from sports car legacy? Let's find out.
What a contrasting week this has been for me. At the start of the week, I was cruising down the Malibu coast and I saw this tangerine Lotus Esprit. Beautiful, lightweight and so desirable. And then at the end of the week, I'm driving this, the Eletre. What a stark contrast for Lotus. It's electric, it's made in China, not UK, and it's heavy.
Lotus, we all know them for their lightweight wonders. Cars that dance through the corners like they are on a mission from the driving gods. But with the Eletre, you might think they've thrown the rulebook out the window. Weighing in at a hefty 2.5 tons. But don't be too hasty to judge.
The batteries do make it a bit of a heavyweight, but it has a power-to-weight ratio of over 360 PS to a ton. That's more punch than your average heavyweight boxer. That's more punch than the Urus Performante.
And this is the R variant, decked out with the air springs, rear wheel steering and a 48-volt active anti-roll system. It's not just a car, it's a symphony of engineering brilliance orchestrated by the maestros at Lotus.
Sounds a bit complex for a Lotus, yeah? But it's all good. You see, the rear axle steering can steer the rear wheels by up to 9 degrees. That's pretty good compared to some of the similar tech that's offered on the other sports cars. It certainly makes this 5.1 meter long SUV feel like a hatchback when you're having to make U-turns in tight spaces. Now, of course, when it comes to handling, it's not a ballet dancer like some of its sports car siblings. You just can't hide all that weight. Let's be real, it is a heavy car. But when you compare it to cars from its own realm, electric vehicles, electric SUVs, there it's certainly far, far better. It can leave the iX, the e-tron and the likes eating dust. There's minimal body roll. This thing feels like it is on rails. It feels like it's glued to the road. So that weight doesn't really take away the driving fun. That's the point that I'm trying to drive across. There's near equal weight distribution. There is equal power distribution front and rear. Like I said, minimal body roll as well. So the handling package is so good, it almost feels as good as the Cayenne Turbo. Almost.
Looks like understeer and oversteer are on vacation with the Eletre. But the steering could do with a better feel and the brakes should have been less grabby. And even gets all-wheel drive made possible by a dual motor setup, both of which are standard across the range.
Now for the R variant, hold your horses. There are 900, in fact more than 900 horses that this thing puts out. That's more horses than an Arab Sheikh stable. It goes from 0 to 100 in 2.9 seconds. That's blisteringly quick. That's very, very fast, even by normal standards. Depending on your driving conditions, your whims and fancies, the R version can give you between 350 to 400 kilometers of driving range, which I think for this kind of performance is phenomenal. But if you're okay to settle for a slightly humbler performance, you can get a vehicle that goes a longer distance, the base or the S variants.
Every version of the Eletre boasts of a 112 kilowatt-hour battery pack under the floor, capable of slurping up electricity at a mind-bending rate of 350 kilowatts. Inside the Eletre, it's a whole different ballgame. Forget your usual functional and bare-bones Lotus interiors. This one's got plushness written all over it. We are talking microfiber, stitched leather, wool blend fabric. They've thrown everything at it. And those machine speaker housings and mill switches, it's like they raided a luxury yacht for parts. Oh wait, or was it Volvo?
The dashboard is dominated by this colossal 15.1-inch screen, which is powered by Geely's eCar X infotainment system. What I'm interested in is that all this infotainment software that you see is powered by the Unreal Engine, which is why you get this nice slick interface, you get nice animations, you can see the whole car. Even if you turn on the turn blinkers, you can see it on the screen itself. So all of that is really nice. It really tickles the geek in me. Furthermore, even the air conditioning is controlled using the screen. Of course, you can just increase or drop the temperature using these knurled knobs on the tunnel console. But even to adjust the flow of the air vents, you have to use the screen. Very much like the Taycan. Quite fancy, yeah?
They've kept things minimal on the instrumentation front, complemented by a rich, full-color heads-up display.
It's like Lotus went from more is less to less is on the screen. But speaking of screens, there are screens in the front and also screens at the back. We'll come to that in a bit. Let's first take a look at the seating.
You can squeeze in 3 at the back, but the one in the Spotlight here has 2 plush buckets with legroom for days and headroom that's surprisingly decent despite the swooping roofline. And you use that screen to adjust them to your liking.
The comfort in these seats, both in the front buckets as well as the rear, is so good that I'm not surprised to see the sport touring credentials that this electric vehicle has. And at the same time, you don't really feel being thrown around. Even with the insane acceleration of this R variant, you're not tossed around as if you are some socks in a tumble dryer. They've also thrown in active noise cancellation, which can drop the cabin sound levels by up to 5 decibels to give it that cocooned feeling. It's a plush interior. In fact, I won't be surprised to see this car being chauffeur driven. It's that level of posh. If you fancy a bit of tech wizardry or you want to be a part of this AI trend, you have these LiDAR sensors, these big pieces of hardware just popping out and retracting through different parts of the bodywork. It definitely looks cool, feels like some cool James Bond gadget, and it's a cool conversation starter.
With the Eltre, Lotus pulls out plenty of aero magic too. Hidden vents, air channels, active flaps in the bumper. It's a bit of porosity, as they like to call it. The result? A slick 0.26 coefficient of drag, making it extremely slippery against the wind.
Now, if it's about basking in the history, the heritage of Lotus's classic sports cars, the Eltre may not be your cup of tea. It has taken a detour from that traditional book. But if you're looking for a forward-looking, futuristic SUV, something that's supercharged, pun intended, and one that will put a smile on your face every time you take it out for a spin, whether it's in the city, out on the twisties, out on the highway, well, the Eltre could be your golden ticket.
Well, you have to admit, electric sports cars are a completely different breed of machines all by themselves. Now, let us know in our comment section on our YouTube channel what you think of the Lotus Eletre and electric sports cars. We'll be back after a very short break with Aether's most powerful electric scooter, the Apex.